All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me during the webinar today. What I plan to do today is to help you get a better understanding of, one, the types of activities that are available to your students on Mangahigh. Two, as a teacher, how do you actually set those up? And three, some tips to help you make sure that your students are very, very successful during the challenge. My name is Michelle. I am the maths coach here at Mangahigh. So it is my job to make sure that you as the teachers are very familiar with Mangahigh so that you can support your students, as much as you possibly can. To begin with, let's have a look to see how your students actually log into the program. So your students by now should have received some student codes that look like this, and they need to enter their user ID, their password, and their school ID. So let's go ahead and log into Mangahigh as a student, where we see that, let me have a look, the user ID is 12021, okay? So we go into mangahigh.com, click on login, and we enter 12021, and the password was Mangahigh in this example, and our school ID. Once we are happy with that selection, we click done, and that should log us in nice and simply. Now, as a student, when they log into Mangahigh, the first thing they see is the list of tasks that their teachers have assigned for them. Now, there are two types of activities teachers can assign, ones that appear with these rich graphics that looks like that, and others that have this blue and yellow logo. Now, the two types of activities are Prodigy, which is an adaptive quiz, and I'll explain to you how to succeed in those. And these are games activities, which is great for your students to develop fluency skills. So skill and drill, practice, practice, practice until they perfect it. Whereas Prodigy activities are adaptive quizzes where students learn to think deeply and conceptually about the maths. And this is what we intend to do, is to have our students learn to think more conceptually in mathematics so that they are more prepared for STEM-based subjects, as well as developing their problem-solving skills. Let's start by having a look at a Prodigy activity. So as a student, they simply click on the activity and they simply click play, and the activity will launch on their screen. Now, what's really important to discuss, and I would at this stage pull out your pen and paper, is what's the best way of succeeding in this Prodigy activity. So as a starting point, our students are aiming for a bronze medal. Now, in order to pass, they need to get a bronze medal, which is 4,200 points. If they then progresses further and wants to get a silver medal or a gold medal, that's fantastic. But as a pass mark, it's a bronze medal that we're aiming for. Now, students have the option of going through a Teach Me component, which is like a tutorial, or alternatively, they can go in and play. Now, when they play this activity, they all start at the easy level, but we are gradually advancing from easy to medium. And then if we can perfect the medium levels, we move to hard, then extreme. Now, if I click on how to play, it will show you if we get 3 in a row questions correct, we'll move up to the next level. So that's how we move up to medium and then hard to extreme. But if we get 2 in a row incorrect, we move back down to the previous level. Okay, so let's click back, and click play. So at the easy level now, we are trying to answer as many of them as we possibly can correctly. So acute angles. If we are correct, we move on to the next question. So this is a 90-degree angle. An acute angle is less than 90 degrees. Notice how there's hints in the questions because we are doing the easy level questions. It's what we call the constructivist approach. Which description matches the angle 305? Once we're happy with that, 3 in a row correct, we move up to the medium level question. So an angle is 237. What type of angle is it? What type of angle is marked below? And then here's our right angle, our obtuse, and our acute angle less than 90 degrees. Now, if your students are struggling with some of these questions, they can also click on free hints, which I'll do in the next question. So free hints, acute angle is between 0 and 90. And so forth. Okay, so let's try and get all of our questions. Actually, if I get this one wrong, let me show you what happens. We move back down to the previous level question. So here we have completed our 10 questions, but as you can see, we haven't actually earned a medal. So in other words, our students have not passed. So in order to pass the activity, we need to earn 4,200 points. And if your students have earned 4,200 points, they would get a bronze medal. And if they have earned greater than that, there's 9,000 points, is a silver medal, and 14,000 points or more is a gold medal. What that means in terms of the types of questions your students need to answer is this. In order to get a bronze medal, your students actually need to complete at least 4 or more hard questions correctly, and then the remainder at the extreme level. Now, if your students then continue and try again and get, hard questions correct and the remainder in extreme correct, then they will earn themselves a silver medal. And then a gold medal is if they complete all 10 extreme questions correctly. Now, during the challenge, your students will be collecting points. So they need to earn a total of 200 or more points in order to receive a medallion. The way they collect points is this. Every time they earn a bronze medal, they get 1 point. A silver medal, they get 2 points. And a gold medal, they then get 3 points. So what we ask our students to do in this case is, one, they haven't earned a medal, so they should try again. But in fact, we have deliberately designed Prodigy activities so that your students don't actually pass in their first go. So we do ask our students to attempt each task at least 3 times. And every time they reattempt the task, they get a brand new set of question again. But before they click play again, they should really click on these red boxes so they can reveal and learn from the mistakes that they have made previously. Okay, once they've learnt from their mistakes, then they have more of a chance to be able to answer the questions the next time the program asks that same question again. So if we click play again, the program will remember at the skill level that we finished, and we simply go ahead and play. And obtuse angle, obtuse. Oops, 190 is not there. Here we go. And reflex, which is greater than 180. And here we go. 3 hard questions correct in a row moved us up to extreme. What type of angle must be added to an acute angle to create a right angle? That's another acute. Which of the following is a good estimate? Perhaps this one here. So let's continue. This is greater than 90 degrees. Now, because we got a question wrong, if I get another one incorrect, I'll move back down to a previous level. So let's try this one extra hard. What type of angle must be added to an acute to create a full turn? That's a reflex angle. PRS. And this one here is RSQ. What type of angle must be added to an obtuse angle to create a full turn? Here we go. Now, so we have earned ourselves a silver medal. We completed our hard question, so we've mastered that level, and we managed to get most of the extreme questions correct, but most importantly, it's based on these points. So we managed to get 9,236 points, greater than 9,000 points, which earned us a silver medal. So as a reminder, basically your students will need to attempt the task multiple times, and we normally encourage 3 times. And like I said, the idea is to get between 4,200 points to 8,999 points. And that means answer more than 3 consecutive hard questions correctly in order to get a bronze medal, 1 point. And if we then go further and answer 3 or more hard questions correctly and the remainder in extreme, which is what we just did, we get ourselves 2 points to get a silver medal. And then lastly, if we had completed all of our extreme questions correctly, which we can go back to do if we play again, then we get ourselves a gold medal, which is worth 3 points. Okay. So as a student, that's one of the type of activities they can do. And as when they complete it, they can see, right, they have passed that particular activity and they got a gold medal for it, or they have passed that activity and they got a silver medal for it, and so forth. Students can also play games. So here's an example of a game-based activity. Now, a warning to your students, it is actually much harder to pass in a game activity than it is a Prodigy activity. So ask your students to balance out between the 2 types of activities during the challenge period as well. So I'll close that and I'm turning this off. So what we are doing in this particular game is to work out what the value of the red line is. Click on the screen to bring up the number line to answer the question, and if we get it correctly, then the answer will, or the question will move on. So that's 8, that's 5, so divide that by 3. And what's really important in this case to notice also is the number of questions your students actually do in a short space of time. It's in our brain, there's a process called long-term potentiation, which basically just means firing the same neural pathways over and over again until we remember what we've been learning or what we've been practicing. So that's what we're encouraging our students to do through the games play, is to practice, but along the way, if the program recognizes that your students have mastered that particular level, then the program will then up-level them, so questions get harder for them. So this one here is a little bit trickier. So that's 3, that's 3. So that's 6, 12, so the answer is 6. Of course, students can pause the game in order for them to work it out on their pen and paper. Okay, so what's this one here? 14 minus 2, so that's 6. And we have finished that particular level. And we got ourselves a gold medal, and that's 3 points. So this game, by the way, this was called Pyramid Panic. So that might be an activity that you want to encourage your students to do. So there's a whole collection of different games that your students can work on. 6 times tables, for example, this is a very popular game where your students are practicing, again, skill and drill and practicing their times tables, and they can see within the game what level they're up to. So if you look at the left-hand side of this game screen, you can see bronze, silver, and gold medal. And it's a matter of answering as many questions as we possibly can within the 60 seconds time frame. Now, if I get the questions wrong, it says, no, that's not right. Okay. And we can see straight away we've passed our bronze medal. So there are various levels of this game, and the teachers can assign them to their students. All right, we've got 10 seconds. Let's see if we can get to the gold medal mark. Okay. So that's pretty satisfying. So the idea is, just imagine how many questions your students completed within that 60 seconds time frame, and really encourage your students to, keep on going and keep practicing and so forth. Now, if we had gotten a bronze medal, then they can go back and try the game activity again. Now, if we had played this game again, we would be competing against our personal best as well. So that's another game that you could assign to your students. So there's a whole collection of them. So students will access games through the assigned tab. They can also click on recommended to find any additional activities that might have been suggested for them for their own personalized learning. Now, this is based on their age as well as the activities or any areas of weaknesses, strengths or weaknesses that the system might have recognized through the AI and to support their learning. Additionally, your students can also click on browse all activities and find extra activities for themselves to work through. So say, for example, they are working at year 7, they simply go through the curriculum, go through the contents and say, right, I'm only interested in looking at Prodigy activities or games activities, and they can go into the curriculum level and select year levels, or perhaps even specify which course they want to do. So once they've clicked on the activity, they simply click play and away they go. So same rules apply. Now, as a student, they can also go into the Game Center and access all of the games from level 1 through to, level infinity, if you wish, depending on the game. So there's different game levels for different games itself. Okay. And importantly for the students, during the period of the competition, they can track live as to how their school is going. They simply click on Leaderboard. And from here, instead of saying Victoria, it would actually say East Asia Ninja Challenge. And they simply click on that and they see a list of all the schools that are participating in the challenge and how many points they have earned as well. They can also see the top 10 students within their school during that competition period. And they can also click on their name and also see their own ranking against their class versus the whole school ranking. Now, importantly, your students would love to track their progress towards achieving that medallion. So when the competition goes live, it's not available at the moment. When the competition goes live, they simply click on their name and look under My Decorations. Under My Decorations, there will be a special decoration that says My Progression Towards the Ninja Challenge. Okay, and it will tell the student you need 150 points to go or 20 points to go and so forth. So we'll do a countdown for your students. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. Remember, it's important to remind our students that in order to succeed, they should be aiming for their bronze medal, which is 1 point, but definitely challenge themselves to see if they can get a gold medal and therefore earning 3 points at a time. All right, so if they can do that, they should be pretty comfortably getting through the challenge, for the 12 days and achieving that medallion. Now let's jump over to see what your teachers see. So this is how teachers would view Mangahigh. So on the top left corner, you can see your school name. From there, you can click on the drop-down menu and select your class. Okay, and it's really important that when you're assigning tasks, you start by making sure you have the correct class selected. You don't want to be assigning tasks to different, classes that you're not responsible for, basically. All right, so as a teacher, you go ahead and select the class that you're working with. So let's just say this one here. And you can click on Assign, and by all means, just go ahead and assign the activities. So go to Assign, select the age appropriate group that you might have. Okay, and find the relevant activities. Notice how there are 2 folders here. It says multiplication and division, as well as multiplication and division games. All right, so these are obviously all the games activities, and these are all the Prodigy activities live here. So find an activity and click Assign. And from here, decide when you'd like your students to start and complete the task. and select which students in your class you want to assign or not assign it to in this particular case, and simply click done. Once you've hit done, the activity will automatically appear on your students' to-do list. Okay, so it's nice and simple. Other ways of browsing activities will be clicking through filters, and you could say, right, in the filters I want to just look for games activities, and I want to look for courses and specify it that way. But again, same thing with the game activities. Simply click on the relevant activity, click assign, specify who you want to assign it to, and click done when you're ready. Okay, so it's really nice and simple. So just as a reminder, where we are is select your class as a step 1. Step 2, go to assign. Step 3, locate the right activities you want to assign, and then click on the activity so you can assign it. All right. Now, as a teacher, you can also track your your school's progress on the leaderboard. So if you go ahead and click on the leaderboards, you can see what the leaderboard is, which is the East Asia leaderboard. Now, at the moment, the challenge or the regular monthly leaderboard runs from the 1st of September to the 1st of October. But during the special challenge, which will be starting on the 23rd, that will change to 23rd through to the 4th of October. Okay, and you can also see who your top 10 students are within your school and how many points they have earned, and therefore track those students who have earned more than 200 medal points. Okay, you can also, if I go back to the leaderboard here, if you scroll down, you can also see any extra sort of trophies or anything like that that the school might have earned during the time period as well. Now, as far as your student logins are concerned, you can go into the admin and go ahead and select the class that you're working with and simply click print all logins. Now, if you haven't actually received your logins, please let us know so that we can have it set up for you beforehand. It's really important that your students have their own logins before the competition starts, just so that they are off to a smooth start. Now, another option I want to show you also here is if you need to add additional classes, go ahead and simply click on plus and specify your class name, the curriculum focus, and tell the program how many classes or how many students you would like to add in each class. Once you're happy with that selection and you just go ahead and generate login, then the program will create 23 extra logins for you, which you can then print and distribute to your students. Now, if you are finding that some of your colleagues are unable to log into Mangahigh, the first thing you do is click on the Teachers tab. So again, we are in Admin, click on Teachers, and go ahead and see if all the teacher logins are actually in here. If the logins are already in here or the email is already registered, you can go ahead and click on the teacher's name, click resend password, and that would actually send a password link for our student, for that particular teacher. Now, if the teacher is not in here yet, go ahead and click on plus new teacher, enter the teacher's details and click save. And as soon as you click save, the teacher will then automatically get an email from Mangahigh with instructions to set their logins. Lastly, if we look at the school tab, at the moment you are mostly set to the Mangahigh International curriculum. If you want to change it to the curriculum that you might be teaching, click on the 3 dots panel here, or 3 dots menu there, and where it says Maths curriculum, click on the drop down menu, and you can go ahead and select other curriculums that you might be using at the school. Keeping in mind, if you make a change in this case, this change will apply for the entire school. All right, so have a chat with your colleagues first and decide on the curriculum or the most appropriate curriculum for your school. So the last thing I want to show you today during the webinar session is the reports that you can use to track your students' progress, and that's if you're curious about how your class is going. So on the top left-hand corner, you can go ahead and select your individual classes, or if I select the entire school, you can look at reports that pertains to the entire school. So the way you would do it is this: you click on reports, and now you have access to the report screen. There's a few different reports that you can access. The achievements report is probably the easiest to understand. It shows you the summary or a summative of how many medals your students have earned in each class. If you click on the particular class, you can see the breakdown by individual students and how many points they've earned. So in this case, this student has earned 86 medals with 218 medal points in total. So remember, gold medal is worth 3 points each, silver medal is worth 2 points each, and a bronze medal is worth 1 point. Okay, you can also use the filter to specify the time frame that you want to look at your report. So it might be looking at just this month, or perhaps this year, or perhaps just this competition itself. Okay, all of this information you can download into Excel as well. So go ahead and click on the 3 dots menu on the top right corner, click Download Excel, and the information will be represented in a spreadsheet for you. Other really interesting reports or data to have a look at is how much time your students are actually spending on the program. This is always my favorite report because it gives me a sense of how enthusiastic your students are. The fact that they are not only spending hours in class, but they're actually going home and spending further hours, further time on the program. So that's always very encouraging and gives us a very good sense of if your students will benefit in the long term in using Mangahigh as part of their regular maths program as well. Other than that, independent activities, this is where we track any extra activities that your students are doing above and beyond the tasks that you have assigned for them. So in this particular case, for example, there's a student who has completed 99 additional activities this month. You can also see how many attempts they've made. And these number of attempts is really important because remember, we always want to encourage students to complete or attempt every task at least 3 times. So here you can see these are the activities that's been recommended by Mangahigh. By all means, encourage your students to do the recommended activities because these are pitched at the correct age group or age level, but more importantly, pitched at their correct maths learning level as well. Now that said, your students can also go ahead and find extra activities themselves for revision or perhaps easy activities just for some bonus points for the competition as well. Okay, so lastly, your students can also, or as a teacher, you can track your students' assignment pass rate. So these are based on all the activities that you have assigned for your students. Go ahead and click on your class and click on Show Grid View, and the data will be represented to you in a grid format as well, which will fill up. Okay, so it's nice and straightforward as far as the reports is concerned. There will be more reports that will be released coming down the track as well. But for now, I encourage you to start exploring Mangahigh. I know it doesn't start until next Monday, 8 a.m. Malaysia time. So GMT +8 is when the competition kicks off. And the clock stops ticking at 10 p.m. Malaysia time on Friday. So again, GMT 8. And yeah, so as a teacher, that's your next task would be firstly to assign some tasks for your students, and secondly, to sit back and track your students' progress on the leaderboard. I wish you all the best and may the best school win. Thank you.